So today we're designing remote controls for a speaker we're going to design in a future video. And so let's right click on this first design and open it up. And this is going to be an opportunity for us to just quickly throw out the basic shape of what we think we want this to be. So I'll head to my features, and I know that I want to extrude something. And I know when I want to extrude it from the top plane. And I'll grab my rectangle tool and just draw out a rectangle about the size that I want it. I'm just looking at the dimensions on the screen just to get something roughly the way I like it. And then I can exit my sketch. It's going to fire off that tool for me automatically. I'll choose a depth based on what I think is realistic for this product. Let's say 16 millimeters in this case. Hit OK. And this is going to be the basic volume that we use to build, I don't know, a sketch model. This is just a sketch. Now I'll grab my fillet tool, and I'm going to box select each one of these corners so that we have all four corners rounded, and round them off by, I don't know, let's say 15 millimeters, and hit OK. That looks pretty decent. And what I actually think I want for this thing, I think I want for, well, I want it to be really rounded, right? So let's just play with that for a second. Now I could take my fillet tool and just round this whole top off with, say, like 10 millimeters or something. But that's not really rounding the whole top of it now, is it? That's just rounding the edges, and the top stays perfectly flat. I want the whole thing to kind of bulge across. So your next inclination might be to go to the dome tool and click on this and choose how much you want it to dome. I don't know, like 5 millimeters. And as we rotate around, you're going to see that. I mean, it kind of works. And if you're okay with that, then more power to you. But if I look at that, I mean, that's just nasty. That's not what I want. The dome tool only really works well on round faces. Just FYI, that's what I use it for anyway. So what I do, here's a quick little tip for you. If I grab my chamfer tool, I'm going to do a distance to distance chamfer. Click this top face, and we'll make my one distance, let's say 5 millimeters, and the other 15, so that it's eating into my top face quite a bit, right? Hit OK. And then I'll take my fillet tool, and I'll just fillet this top edge, but I'll fillet it by a whole lot. I'm going to make it a really big radius fillet. Hit OK. And basically, that's just rounded this whole top face off for me, right? Now I could do the same thing on the back. Let's go to my chamfer tool. We'll hit that back face. Do the same thing, distance to distance. I'll say 15 on one and 5 on the other, and that looks good. And do that same fillet right back here. Hit OK. Now we've got a really rounded kind of pill shape. And finally, then I can just take my fillet tool, and I'll just do a constant radius edge fillet on this face. It goes all the way around. It's going to fail because it's huge right now. All right, we'll hit OK. And now this is an ugly model, but it works, right? I can go to my view options here and turn off those lines. And this is a perfectly good sketch model that I could 3D print or whatever, right? So this is going to be my first iteration. I'm going to save this. And before I go any further, I'm going to say File, Save As. And let's say Save a Copy. This is the important thing. If I save as a new name, it's going to replace the one in my assembly. That's not what I want. I want to save a new file, 002, hit Save. Now when I close this up and go back to my assembly, here it is in the assembly. And now I can go back to my folder. And in my iterations folder, I have my, let's see, here it is, Atom 002 solid part. I'm going to drag that and drop it in here. And now we have both of these files out here in space. And I can iterate on this now. I can take that number 2 file I just created, open that up, and make it a little bit different. Let's say that I just want the proportions of it to be really different. So we'll just take this and make it more square instead of rectangular. And it's probably going to solve. Yeah, that looks fine. Close that up. And now we have 2 iterations out here in space to look at once, and we can do as many of these as we want and have them all out here at once to compare them. And by the time we're all done, we should have a really good list of iterations here to play with. All right, go have fun.